These aren't just normal shoes. They're banned from the NBA. And Stephen Curry didn't just wear one banned shoe, he wore two within the same week. It all started in 2018. The Warriors wanted to celebrate Chinese New Year, so they designed these Chinese-themed jerseys. And Steph loved them so much, he created an exclusive pair of Currys to match. The Chinese Heritage Curry 4s. Yeah, so of course Steph wore them to the very next game. But that's where things got controversial. See, at the time, Steph didn't know about the NBA's strict shoe policy, stating that all shoes had to match their team's colorways and could only include the brand's logos. And Steph's shoes clearly went against those rules. But all that doesn't seem that bad, right? Wrong. Because that same week, Steph violated their policy again. This time, when he announced a shoe collab with none other than President Barack Obama.
What's up, y'all? It's Steph. I have a special sneak peek of a one-of-one colorway of the Curry 4 that I'm wearing tonight. But these are the kicks right here.
Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that don't look like the Under Armour logo. So that night, despite him dropping 25 points, the NBA let Steph know his shoes were banned. And to make matters even worse, later that year, the NBA ended up lifting this shoe color restriction. So if Steph waited just a few more months, his kicks might have slipped under the radar. But listen, all that's not even the worst of the NBA's shoe bans. One pair of Jordans lost a player $200 million. Another shoe literally gave an NBA player superpowers. But before we get to those, what if I told you a player hated LeBron so much, he banned his teammates from wearing LeBron's shoes? LeBron came into the NBA as one of the most hyped teenagers ever. And before even stepping on the court, Nike blessed him with a shoe deal. So some players respected him, others doubted him, but one player hated him. And that led to one of the weirdest shoe bans in NBA history. See, LeBron didn't know this, but he came into one of his first ever preseason games with a target on his back. And who was this silent assassin? Paul Pierce. Throughout Pierce's career, he always felt like he was the top dog. So when he saw all the attention LeBron was getting, Pierce envied him. So whenever Pierce and LeBron faced off, they were fighting for their legacy. But since only one team could make it through the East, LeBron pushed himself to become the GOAT, just so Pierce wasn't even a threat anymore. And obviously, this destroyed Pierce's mental. Cause years later, when he made his way to the Wizards, Pierce noticed that one of his teammates wore his rival's shoes. So, right then and there, he let the whole team know, ain't no way you're about to wear LeBron's in my house. But the Wizards didn't listen. So Pierce was forced to play the entire year with the shoes that he banned. And well, the team would learn to regret their decision. Because not only did Pierce leave them for the Clippers, LeBron later admitted, when players wear his shoes, it's just extra motivation.
If I see a guy wearing my shoes, and you just go get a pair of bronze and you want to wear them on a Tuesday night versus me, I'm gonna bust your ass. Straight up.
Damn, LeBron's a savage, man. But at least nobody lost money from that shoe ban, cause what James Harden wore nearly lost him hundreds of millions of dollars. When Harden signed a 13-year, $200 million deal with Adidas, obviously he was excited. So Harden and his girl Khloe Kardashian decided to celebrate. But when you're one of the most famous celebrity couples in the entire world, you already know paparazzi are lurking and waiting for you to slip up. And well, that's exactly what Harden did. Now, this pic didn't seem like anything too crazy, but just look at Harden's feet. Last time I checked, Michael Jordan never had anything to do with Adidas. So cause Harden was caught wearing J's, this became a huge headline. And things got so out of control, the president of Adidas just had to step in. He told Harden, if you want to make your 200 M's, for the next 13 years, you can't wear any other brand on the court, off the court, or even in your own house. Otherwise, we're suing your ass. And what did Harden have to say about all of that? Well,
like you in school, Adidas about to be amazing. Yeah. Swag!
Now, at least Harden didn't influence anybody else to break the rules. Zach LaVine got everyone in the NBA to wear a banned shoe. See, Zach also signed a shoe deal with Adidas. And well, when he planned on debuting one of Adidas' new shoes, things turned into a disaster. Out of nowhere, one of the brand's leading creators, Kanye West, revealed that he'd been developing something for 3 years. And even though it took over 300 samples, he finally came up with the perfect concept for a Yeezy basketball shoe. When Kanye posted pics of the shoes on social media, he also announced that faces like Zach would rock them during the new season. But that's when the NBA ruined everything. Cause when league officials saw Kanye's posts, they noticed something odd about these shoes. In pretty much every pic, these shoes were damn near blinding, and all the league could think about was how distracting the shoes would be on court. So, the Yeezys were banned. Players like John Wall, Donovan Mitchell, and Brandon Ingram had already let Adidas know that they'd wear the shoes, but nobody was more devastated than Zach LaVine. He loved the shoes, and even though everybody else was backing down, Zach wasn't. He came into the 2020 All-Star Weekend ready to be a pioneer. Right when Zach stepped on the court, he instantly laced them up. And that night, when he pulled up for the three-point contest, Zach made history, becoming the first player ever to wear banned Yeezys. This was a monumental moment, because not only did Zach go against the NBA's rules, he stood up for what he believed in, giving other players hope that they could make a change. And after Brandon Ingram saw Zach's ultimate sacrifice, Ingram knew it was his turn. So the very next day, during his first NBA All-Star game, with all eyes on him, he walked right on that court, rocking the Yeezys, becoming the first NBA player ever to wear them in a game. And ironically, Kanye himself witnessed it all courtside. So he signed Ingram's shoes in front of everybody. Just look at the smile on Kanye's face, man. You don't see that every day. At this point, he knew it was only a matter of time before his shoes went global. And after All-Star Weekend, another player stepped up. Andre Iguodala became the first player ever to wear them in a regular season game. But he didn't just wear them once, he wore them twice, even rocking a brand new color scheme. So, since the NBA saw a revolution taking place, they did the only thing they could. The NBA's first ever shoe unban. And when Kanye heard the news, there was no celebration necessary. Instead, he just decided to collab with an NBA player, Derrick Rose, and design an even crazier shoe. Wait, these are shoes? The f*** am I looking at? Anyways, not all shoes get their own revolution. And Karl Anthony Towns was one of the unlucky ones. Cause his shoes got banned by Netflix? Yeah. Low-key, Towns has an addiction. Cause every single day, he can't help himself. He just has to watch Hoop Flicks. Yeah, even Kat's a fan. So why aren't you? Subscribe! Anyways, there's also something else he's addicted to watching. Stranger Things. But ever since he stayed up all night watching the show, he started playing like ass. So something had to change. And well, eventually he came up with the perfect plan. During his next matchup against the Knicks, Towns stepped on the court and instantly went to work, dropping 23 points, 15 rebounds, and 9 assists. But carrying his team to a dub wasn't even the biggest headline, cause his shoes stole the show. Before the game, Towns hit up a famous shoe designer to create some unique kicks. Custom Nike Hyper Dunks, combining his true loves, basketball, and Stranger Things. So to Towns, these shoes were a masterpiece. But just like the time Stephen Curry's shoes were banned, Towns ran into the same issue. Cause the kicks directly promoted Netflix and Stranger Things, he was never allowed to wear his favorite pair again. Damn. The NBA really banned Towns' shoes, and they didn't even affect his game. What if I told you one basketball shoe was banned? Cause it gave players superpowers. See, for decades, Nike and Adidas were on top of the shoe world, but one brand wanted to completely wipe out the competition. So they designed something that no company could compete with. Literally, the APL Concept 1s. But these weren't like any other basketball shoes. They had built-in springs that could increase a player's vertical by over 3 inches. So even Stephen Curry could put these on and dunk. But the NBA must not have been ready for all of that, because when they heard about the advantage the shoes gave players, they said hell nah, and hit APL with the ban. Now, APL easily could have fallen off. I mean, without the NBA's promo, they'd be losing hundreds of millions of dollars. But instead, APL embraced the ban, and as soon as the shoes went public, they went viral. So, APL kept designing shoes to purposely get banned by the NBA. And eventually, they dropped 2 more banned shoes, the APL Super Futures and the Concept X. And no lie, I'm sure all of us can see why these shoes got banned, but what Kyrie Irving's shoes got banned for literally made no sense. Ever since Kyrie got drafted to the NBA, one legend always knew he deserved a signature shoe.
This kid is young,
Amazing.
He's great, and I know what he's gonna become. The kid gets a signature shoe from Nike. There's not many signature guys, and I was like, that is a signature guy.
Now, getting praise from LeBron James? Of course Nike listened. So they immediately offered Kyrie a deal and planned to work on his first shoe, the Kyrie 1s. And of course, Kyrie wanted the drop to be special. So he not only took inspiration from LeBron's shoes, Kyrie included designs that represented his life story. On the side, he created a jagged design, symbolizing the Sydney Opera House in his birthplace of Australia. On the sole, Kyrie made sure it had his mom's name, birthday, and death day. And last but not least, the shoes included Kyrie's jersey number. So it was obvious that Kyrie put a ton of thought into these shoes, and he couldn't wait for the world to see. Kyrie planned on debuting his favorite colorway during a game against the Warriors, the deceptive red Kyrie 1s. And during the game, you could clearly see his bright red feet through every possession. The shoes stood out. They were exactly what Kyrie wanted, but the NBA hated them. And after the game, they broke some horrible news. During an interview with Complex, Kyrie let the world know, I actually got fined from the league because it wasn't our team colors. Nike wasn't happy about it, but I was happy because that means they stood out completely. Now, this made no sense. If you look at the highlights, yeah, most players were wearing black and white shoes, but the colors of Kyrie's shoes weren't that different from his jersey. So I don't know what the NBA was thinking. Now, it's pretty obvious that Kyrie loved his shoes, but his situation wasn't as heartbreaking as Carmelo Anthony's, cause the NBA ruined the proudest moment of his career. Throughout Melo's life, he dropped 9 pairs of signature shoes, all representing a milestone of his career. And when it came time for his 10th anniversary, Melo wanted to create something that would change the shoe game. So, Melo worked with a legendary shoe designer from the Jordan brand to turn his dream into reality. To commemorate his accomplishments, Melo wanted to include elements from his previous shoes. So on the back, Melo showcased a chrome piece calling back to his very first signature logo. After pouring his heart and soul into the mock-up, Melo thought he had himself a masterpiece. And after the new year, he began wearing different colorways. Throughout the season, he was playing out of his mind and fell in love with these shoes. But that's when the NBA crushed his dreams. Apparently, fans and players everywhere started complaining about Melo's shoes. They said that his reflective heel was way too distracting. And well, the NBA didn't want to risk blinding anyone, so the shoes were immediately banned. But Michael Jordan knew how much these shoes meant to Melo, and he couldn't let his prodigy down. So he had Melo's shoes redesigned with a non-reflective heel, and not long after, Melo was back on the court rocking his favorite pair. Now, this isn't the first time MJ had to deal with a banned shoe, because when his got banned, it turned into one of the biggest mysteries in NBA history. Without even playing a single game, Jordan came into the NBA demanding a signature shoe. So, he immediately signed a Nike deal. At the time, the brand had just invented new technology, the air soles, and they knew how much Jordan flew in the air. So, they brainstormed the perfect name for his new shoes, the Air Jordans. This was pretty much a match made in heaven, but I'm sure neither Jordan or Nike knew how big of a deal this shoe would become. Nike hoped that within 4 years of Jordan being with their brand, they'd sell at least $3 million worth of these shoes. And they were confident, because at the time, most players in the NBA only wore white or black shoes. So Nike had a feeling that Jordan's red and black pair had potential to be groundbreaking. But that's when the NBA tried to end everything before it started. Because not only did the league send Nike a letter banning the shoes, they threatened to fine Jordan $5,000 every single game he wore them. Now, it was rumored that Nike told Jordan to wear them anyway and that they'd covered the fines. But the craziest part was, Nike and Jordan faked everything. Let's take a look at the letter again. It claimed that Jordan wore these banned shoes on October 18, 1984. But around that time, every game Jordan played, he wore a completely different shoe. And when I dug deeper, I found out that the Air Jordan 1s weren't even out yet. These were the Nike Airships, similar to the Air Jordans, but with a slightly different look. But because they looked like Jordan's 1s, nobody knew. And this became one of the most genius marketing scandals in sports history. Because not only did Nike falsely advertise them as banned shoes, Jordan wore them to his rookie dunk contest, making fans believe he wasn't scared of any ban. So all of a sudden, everybody needed a pair. Jays became the first basketball shoes that were cool to wear off the court, instantly selling out every time Nike dropped a new colorway. And remember that $3 million that Nike hoped for? Well, in just 1 year, they completely crushed their goal. They made $126 million, all because of a fake ban. Damn, who would have known that shoes would be such a big deal? But they still aren't as crazy as the NBA's banned celebrations, because players were literally throwing up gang signs and grabbing their and I know you want to hear more about that, so just click this video right here.